Peanut. My name is Mr. Austin, and today is the last Peanut video. It's lesson number 6. It's the last lesson. Today is graduation. So, you've seen 5 different videos from me. Hopefully you've watched them all, but we've had 5 different videos about all kinds of different healthy activities, healthy things to do, all stuff about you being healthy. I say healthy all the time because all the stuff we've talked about in these videos is all about being healthy. So for graduation today, we're going to go over everything we've learned, and I'm going to do a quick quiz with you to see and figure out what you know and see if you learned some of the different stuff I wanted you to learn from all the different videos. So first thing we're going to do is go over the healthy homework from last time. So healthy homework from last time was for you to look either in your fridge, on the cupboard, maybe in the freezer for fruits or vegetables you have at home. And we wanted you to figure out what part of a plant those fruits or vegetables are. So in lesson 5, the last video, you talked about the different parts of a plant. You talked about the seeds, where the plants grow from. You talked about roots. You talked about stems, leaves, flowers, fruits. All those different parts of a plant. And fruits or vegetables, in some way, shape, or form, are part of a plant, right? So whether it's the seed of a plant that you eat, whether it's the fruit of a plant that you eat, a lot of us know that, obviously. So think about the fruit or vegetable you found at home, and think about what part of a plant it was. If you forgot to do it, think about a fruit or vegetable you have in your kitchen right now, in the fridge or in the cupboard, and tell me what part of a plant it is. So, now that we've done that, we are going to jump right into showing off what you've learned from this year. So I'm going to quickly go over everything we've learned. I'm just going to breeze over all the different stuff. So some of the main stuff we talked about were all about fruits and vegetables, why they're so healthy for you, why they're so important. They have all kinds of vitamins, all kinds of minerals, fiber, all this good stuff is in fruits and vegetables. You have to eat them. You should be eating them every day. We talked about healthy snacks. So snacks are something that we all usually eat. We all get hungry in between breakfast and lunch, in between lunch and dinner. And we all know what snacks are, and a lot of us love snacks. I love snacks. But you want to make sure they're healthy snacks, so you're not eating a whole bunch of sugary or processed stuff in between your meals. You're eating healthy snacks. We talked about some different ones you can have. We talked all about My Plate. So we talked about My Plate and the 5 food groups, which is going to be one of my questions later, so I'm not going to say it yet. But we talked about those 5 food groups that are all so important because they all do different things for your body. They either help grow your muscles, they give you energy so you can go throughout the day without getting tired, they help you focus or help you think. All that stuff, they stop you from getting sick. So My Plate is very important because it shows you all the different food groups and why you should eat each of them. We talked about last lesson where your food comes from. So when you go to the grocery store, it doesn't just magically appear in the grocery store, right? Food doesn't grow in the grocery store. It has to come from somewhere. So no matter what you eat, whether it's fruits and vegetables, whether it's grain foods like bread or like pasta, whether it's different kinds of meat, whether it's eggs, whether it's cheese, it all comes from somewhere. It doesn't just start in the grocery store. So you talked about last time where it comes from, where it grows, places like farms and in gardens, and all those different places, all those different people that make the food for us that we then eat at home or in a restaurant or at school, all that stuff. The first thing we talked about, and one of the most important things we talked about this year throughout these videos, was washing your hands and washing your hands the right way. We all know how important it is to keep your hands clean, to stop spreading germs. There's germs all over the place. It's just part of life. There's germs on everything you touch. There's germs on the door handles. There's germs on your pencils, on your bikes, on the car door handles when you get in the car. All that stuff has germs. And in order to get them off, so that way when they're on their hands, you're not touching your mouth or touching your eyes and getting yourself sick, you have to wash your hands, and you have to do it the right way. By putting that warm water on there, by putting that soap on there and rubbing it in for 20 seconds at least, getting it all over your hands, and then washing it off. You have to do it. It's not hard to do it the right way. Some people speed right through it and skip some of those steps, but it's not hard to do it the right way, and that's what gets your hands clean so you're not spreading germs. We also did a bunch of different physical activities together. I showed you a bunch of different ones. It's hard to do it over video, right? If I was in the classroom with you, we would be doing a lot more, or we'd be doing some different games and moving around a little bit more. But the whole point was to teach you how easy it is to do physical activity. You can stand up from wherever you're sitting and do some form of physical activity. Physical activity doesn't just have to be a sport. Walking is a physical activity. Doing jumping jacks is a physical activity. Pushing a lawnmower or vacuuming your room, chores like that, shoveling the snow when it was snowy outside, all that stuff is physical activity. So you want to make sure you're moving your body. That's the other part of Peanut, is a physical education part of it, because moving your body is very important as well. We're eating all this food, doing all this stuff, but you have to use some of that energy and keep your muscles and your bones and your brain and your heart all strong. And we do that through physical activity. I also showed you some different healthy foods at the end of each video. So I showed you mostly fruits and vegetables at the end, but I tried to show you a bunch of different ones to have you think about different things that you can try. There might be fruits or vegetables out there that you've never tried, and you won't know if you like it until you try it. So that's why I tried to show you a bunch of different ones. Another thing that stinks is that if I was in your classroom, I'd be able to bring you snacks and you'd be able to try them. But for now, I just showed you on the video, but it's to teach you that we want you to try new foods, new healthy foods especially, because the more healthy foods you try, and hopefully you like some of the healthy foods that you try, the more healthy foods that you eat, and the easier it is to stay healthy. So that's some of the stuff we talked about over these past few videos. So now I'm going to quiz you. So I'm going to ask you some questions about the stuff that we learned. I'm going to have you type some of them in underneath here. So it's going to pause the video and it's going to pop up. So you can type in the answers or click a multiple choice. But I'm going to ask you some questions about what we've learned over the past few videos, over the past few months, and see what you remember. Some of them will be easy, won't be too tricky, but it's still something I want you to know. So as I'm going to ask them, some of them I'll make a little bit harder, just to kind of give you a little bit of a test. So let's get it started. First question is, what is shaped like a plate and teaches us about healthy foods? So what is shaped like a plate and teaches us about healthy foods? I'm going to give you a minute to think of it. Type it in. The answer is my plate. My plate is shaped like a plate. That's the easy one. And it teaches us about healthy foods, right? It's got the 5 different food groups on there. And I just gave away my next question, so I'm going to ask a different one. My next question was going to be, how many food groups are there? But let's make it a little bit trickier, though it's not too hard. What are the 5 food groups that are on my plate? So think for a minute. There's 5 different food groups that all foods fit into. What are the 5 food groups that are on my plate? Give it a thought for a minute. Type it in, or maybe there'll be a little multiple choice, but think about what are the 5 food groups. All right, the 5 food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Those are the 5 food groups you need. All 5 foods for different reasons. They all do different things for your body. For example, dairy foods have calcium in them. So things like cheese, yogurt, milk helps build your muscle, or helps build your bones, Calcium helps build your bones, keeps your bones strong, keeps your teeth healthy. Protein builds your muscles. So different kinds of meats. You don't have to eat meat. Things like tofu, things like peanut butter, that kind of stuff helps with keeping your muscles strong. And then there's fruits, there's vegetables, there's grains, but those are the 5 different food groups. All right, next one is a little bit of a tricky question. You kind of have to think about what the My Plate looks like in order to do this one. But how much of your plate should be covered with fruits and veggies? So how much of my plate, I'll give you a little bit of a hint, it shows it on my plate. How much of your plate should be covered with fruits and vegetables? If you had a plate right in front of you and you were eating a healthy meal, like you were following it right to the T and eating everything healthy, how much of that plate right in front of you should have fruits and vegetables on it? The answer is half of the plate. So half of the plate, if you look at a picture of my plate, it splits up the plate into 4 food groups, and then the dairy is in the corner. But half of that plate is fruits and vegetables. So you should have half of your plates when you're trying to eat healthy, have fruits and vegetables on there. All right, next question. And I talked about this one earlier, so hopefully you remember. How long does it take to wash your hands correctly? And I'll even take it a little bit farther. How long does it take to put the soap onto your hands? Or how long should you be putting the soap on your hands when you wash them? Not too tricky. The answer is 20 seconds. when you put soap on your hands, when you go over and you squirt the soap on your hands for 20 seconds, you can count it. You can sing the happy birthday song. You can sing the ABC song in your head if you want to, or out loud if you really want to. But for 20 seconds, you need to rub that soap in, and you need to get it all over your hands. You need to make sure it gets everywhere, and you got to give it a second to do its job and to get all those germs off of your hands. So you need to rub it in. You need to be going in between your fingers, back of your hands, down to your wrist, getting your fingernails. But 20 seconds is the answer to that question for how long you should be washing your hands and putting the soap on there. Next one says, how often should we eat candy, cakes, and donuts? So all tasty stuff. I get that. Candy, cakes, and donuts, all delicious. I love donuts. But how often should we be eating those? We talked about this during our snack lesson, I think it was. The answer to this one is sometimes. I'm not going to tell you to never eat cake, candy, and donuts because, just like I said, I like that stuff too. But you shouldn't then be eating cake, candy, and donuts every single day. You shouldn't be having a donut for breakfast, a piece of cake after dinner, and 5 pieces of candy at lunchtime in your lunchbox. You want to only have them sometimes because they don't do anything healthy for us. They're not very nutritious is the word. They have a lot of sugar, they have a lot of fats in them, and they don't help our bodies grow and stay healthy and strong the way we want them to. So it's okay to have them, but only sometimes. All right, next question. Ooh, this is a good one. This one we talked about a while ago. What is one good reason to be physically active? So there's a bunch of different reasons, but what is one? Think in your head. We talked about this, I think it was lesson number 2 that was all about physical activity. And I told you a bunch of reasons why it's important to be physically active. So what is one of those? Give you a second to think. The answer, and I'll give you a couple of them. So one of the reasons is it makes our muscles stronger. We all know that one. When you exercise and you're physically active, if you're running, you're using your leg muscles. If you're lifting something up or using your arms, you're using your arm muscles. And I also told you it doesn't have to mean you have to be huge and be a bodybuilder and have huge muscles, but you need to use them to keep them strong. So it helps our muscles stay stronger. It helps us sleep is a good one. When you're physically active, you're using energy, your body's using all kinds of stuff inside, makes you tired, which helps you sleep at night, which is always a good thing because you need to make sure to get enough sleep because sleep is just as important as eating healthy and being physically active too. So that's what physical activity is good for. What's some other stuff? It's good for our health. It helps us grow when we're using our muscles and our bones and all that stuff. You're still probably growing, so it'll help you grow. It helps deal with stress. If you're stressed out or if you're tired or kind of bored, when you do some physical activity, it gets your blood pumping. It puts some different chemicals in your brain and going through your body so that you wake up, you get excited, you sweat a little bit. So all that stuff is one reason to be physically active. All right, let's see. Next question is, what is one part of a plant? This was from last video, so hopefully this is fresh in your head. What is one part of a plant? So if you were to go out and look at a plant, what's one part? I'll give you a hint. There's 6 different parts to a plant, so hopefully you can think of just one. All right, let's talk about them. First part of a plant I can think of, we'll start from, you know what, let's start from the bottom and work our way up to the top. So seeds. Seeds are what a plant grows out of, right? When we put a seed in the ground, you water it, you take care of it, it grows. Seeds are parts of a plant. Roots, the very bottom of a plant that keeps it in the ground, those are part of a plant. You have the stems of a plant that comes up out of the ground. That's part of a plant. You have leaves. We all know what leaves are. Leaves are part of a plant. You have flowers. So flowers are on a bunch of different plants to help them grow, help them pollinate, do all that stuff, so there can be more of them. And then the last one is fruit. I almost said flowers again. Fruit is another part of a plant. So any kind of fruit that you eat, think of apples, think of bananas, think of oranges, think of pears, think of grapes. They all grow on a plant. Those are the fruits of the plant that we then pull off, whether it be a farmer, whether it be you in your garden. And if it's a farmer, they clean them up, they ship them off to the grocery store, and then you go in and you buy them and you eat them at home. So those are some different parts of a plant. So hopefully you remember some of that stuff. You got some of those questions right, or you got most of those questions right. But all of that stuff is some of the main stuff I want you to remember. So after we're done watching these videos, after you're done watching this, I just want you to think about that kind of stuff in your head. I want you to think about being physically active every day. Doing something physically active that you like, whether it be a sport, whether it be just an activity outside, whether it be running or walking, something where you're moving your body and using your muscles is all we want you to worry about, what we want you to learn from Peanut. And we also want you to think about different healthy foods. We want you to think about ones that you like. That's why we always say to try new foods, because the more healthy foods that you try, hopefully, like I said before, the more that you'll like and the more that you'll eat. So it's okay not to like every single food, every single healthy food that you ever eat, right? I'm not telling you to just eat it even though it's gross and you don't like it. But there's different ways to cook foods. Foods come in different forms. And there's all kinds of different foods. There might be something that you've never had before that might turn into your favorite food. So it's all about trying new foods, trying different healthy foods, and trying to eat the healthiest foods you can from my plate so you can grow healthy, you can be strong, you don't get sick, all that good stuff. All right, what's our next one? Okay, for this one, I have a couple questions for you that I want you to answer. So the first one's pretty easy. This one I want you to type down below. I want you to just tell me one thing you've learned. One thing from all these videos about healthy eating, healthy living. What's one thing that you've learned from me that you'll use maybe, but just one thing you've learned. One thing, first thing that pops in your head, I want you to type that in. The next question is, which topic that we talked about was the most interesting to you? So what was one of the things I talked about you thought, oh, that's pretty cool? Whether it be physical activity, it can be about snacks, it could have been about the fruits and vegetables, it could have been about where plants grow and where they come from. So what one of those things was very interesting to you? Because even though I talk to you about these, it's just very quick, right? These are very little bits about this different stuff, and you can learn a lot more. But I want to hear which one was most interesting to you. All right, next question is, would you like to learn more about healthy eating? So I was come up to you, if we were in your classroom right now, and I was going to say, would you like to learn more about healthy eating? Would you say yes, or would you say no, not really? But I want you to be honest. Tell me whether you would like to learn more about healthy eating. Because like I just said before, there's a bunch more to talk about. I tried to do a little quick summary of it, but there's a bunch of more interesting stuff that you can learn. And then my next and last question is, are you a healthier eater since we started talking about this stuff with Peanut? So do you try and eat healthier at home? And tell me what changed. So the next question is all about that. Telling me whether or not you're a healthier eater. So did you eat different foods? Maybe you thought about it and you ate more fruits or more vegetables. Maybe you stopped eating as many sometimes foods. Maybe you put the cookies away 1 or 2 days out of the week. Or maybe you stopped eating a bag of chips at lunch and you had a couple carrot sticks instead. But tell me if you're a healthier eater. Ooh, that was hard for me to say. All right, the last thing, or we're almost done here, we're going to do a Fitbit. We're going to do one more game, one more little Fitbit before we wrap up. So our Fitbit today is called Everybody Needs. And for this Fitbit, what we're going to do, it's going to be a little bit different. If I was in your classroom, we would all be acting this out, or you would be acting it out. You would come up to the front of the room, you would act out a different healthy behavior. Everybody else in the room would guess, and then we'd do 5 jumping jacks, and somebody else would come up who guessed it and act it out. But since we're on video, I'm going to act them out. So we're going to change it a little bit. I am going to act out a different healthy behavior, kind of like charades. So it might be a game. It might be me doing, I don't want to give it away, but you're going to see. I'm going to act out a different healthy behavior, and I want you at home or if you're in your classroom, I want you to guess what I'm doing. And I'll give you guys all a second to guess, and if you get it right, we're all going to do 5 jumping jacks, and then I'm going to do another one, and we're going to do this a couple times. Because I want you to see, or I want you to see if you can guess what kind of activities I'm acting out. So let's make this small, or let's make that go away so you can see me. Before we start, stand up, and if you're at home or in your room, make sure that nothing's around. If you're sitting in a chair like me, push it out of the way, kind of check. Make sure you're not going to kick anything or bump into anything when we're doing this. All right, so the first thing we'll do an easy one. I have a little cheat sheet that I'm going to look at. So let's see, what's the first one I'm going to do? All right, let's act out this first one and see if you can guess it. Ready? One more time, just in case you didn't get that one. Try and guess what I'm doing. Any guesses? Think for a minute. I am playing baseball, playing game, physical activity. Hopefully you got the one right. That was an easy one. Let's do 5 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next one, I'm going to do a prop 4. So since I was just playing baseball, I'm tired. What am I doing in this one? Any guesses? Another easy one. I was drinking water out of my water bottle, which is another healthy behavior. Super easy one to do too. All right, 5 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, next one. Let's see here. Oh, I know a good one. All right, here's another healthy behavior that you can do and that we all do too. So see if you can guess what I'm doing. Any guesses? Easy one. Sleeping. Sleeping is a healthy behavior. It's so important to sleep and to get enough sleep. 5 jumping jacks. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let me look at my cheat sheet again. Ooh, a good one. And I kind of am doing this right now just because I'm talking a lot. Let's do this. Right here. Something on my hands. What am I doing? Off. I just acted out washing my hands. I probably didn't do it for 20 seconds like I'm supposed to, but that is how you should wash your hands. 5 jumping jacks. That was another healthy behavior. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see here. All right, let's do one more. One more. Let's see if you can guess this one. I'm trying to see how we can do this so that you can see me. Oh, I got a good one. All right, let's do this. I gotta make sure I don't hit my fan. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm playing basketball. Playing basketball. All right, 5 jumping jacks real quick. That's another healthy behavior. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are all done. Let me sit back down. Got a couple more things before we wrap up. All right, so that one was kind of silly. I know it's a little bit different with me standing in here by myself as opposed to being in the room with you. But the point is, all those different healthy activities I did, all those different healthy habits, which are easy to do. You can do them at home. You can do different versions of what I did. But all that stuff I just did was different healthy activities. All right, let me make this big so you can see. Last thing we're going to talk about today before we wrap up for the last time is the healthy snack. And this should be a very familiar one. As you can see, these are apples. So apples are especially popular in Michigan where we live because we grow a lot of apples here in Michigan. So you hopefully or probably have had an apple before, but they come in all kinds of different colors. You can have green apples, you can have red apples, you can have yellow apples. I love yellow apples. Those are probably my favorite. Apples are a fruit that grow on trees, kind of like we talked about in the last lesson. And you can have apples in all kinds of different forms. You can just have a whole apple right off the tree. You can have apple juice, just like in that middle picture right there. You can have apple sauce, like over to the right. All different kinds of ways to have apples. You can cut apples up and you can dip them in stuff. I know a bunch of people that love apples and peanut butter. I like that too. That's a good snack too. So apples are a good one. They can be sweet and they can be sour, especially if you have a green one. Or they can be tart, but there are all kinds of different things you can do with apples. You can make them or you can bake them into all kinds of different tasty stuff too. You can bake them into different breakfast foods as well. You can make apple muffins, all that good stuff. So apples are a good snack and they're very healthy too, especially whole apples. If you have a whole apple with the skin on it, very good for you. It has fiber in it, which is good for your body as well. So apples are a good snack. So I encourage you to try one if you have one at school or if you have one at home. Super easy one. All right, let's make this big so you can see it. So we are officially done with peanuts. So I'm gonna make this so you can see me. I'm gonna clap for you. Round of applause. You've officially learned about different healthy habits to do, whether it be healthy eating or physical activity. You've learned all kinds of different stuff that you can do at home, with friends, with family, at school, to be healthier. I know it was a lot of talking and learning a bunch of different stuff, but the whole point is stuff that you can do at home. So even though I might have said some stuff that you're like, Mr. Austin, I'm not ever going to do that. I want you to think of some of the stuff that you go, okay, I can try that or I can do that. because that's what we want you to learn from Peanut, is different healthy habits that you can then use at home to make you a healthier person. So congratulations on finishing Peanut. Homework, no really homework for this because this is the last video. My homework for you is just to try and be healthier at home. Try and teach people to be healthier at home or at school, friends, family, brothers and sisters, mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles, cousins, anybody. Try and take some of the stuff that you learned and try and be healthier with them. And then when you teach them how to be healthier, they'll help you be healthier. And it's all a good thing. So that is your healthy homework from now until the next time I see you. And that is it for now. So hopefully you enjoyed these videos. I'm hoping I get to see you in person in your classroom. Either me or one of the other Peanut teachers that we have at all the schools that we're at. But it was nice to talk to you over the video. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and I will see you soon.